Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Atodayam Udirayet Nasta Preshu Abhadreshu Nityama Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavati Rutama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, unto Naranarayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. And by regular attendance of the Bhagavatam class, and by rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious within the heart of the candidate becomes destroyed practically to nil. Thus, loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being as an irrevocable fact. So we're waiting for the board. Just now coming. So we're taking Canto 2, Chapter 9, text number 13. Jai, thank you. Oh, glories. So I'll go ahead and start. I think she'll be here pretty soon. Should be here pretty soon. Text number 13. Brajishnu birya parito virajate lasarvam bimanavali bir mahatmanam vijotmanaha pramadotamajubihi savijud abravali bir yatanabaha. Difficult verse to chant. I'm glad the board's not here. You won't be able to tell how many mistakes I made there. Should we just forget the board? Nobody's saying anything.
She's writing. She's writing.
He's writing?
She's just about that.
Almost done? Okay. I have to keep people awake here. There you go. Good idea. Why don't you go ahead and start?
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, let's try to chant responsively. Rajeshnu birya parito virajate. Brajeshnu birya parito virajate. Lasadimana bali bihir mahatmanam. Lasadimana bali bihir mahatmanam. Vijotamanaha pramadotama jubihe. Vijotamana pramadotama jubihe. Savijud abravalibhir yata nabaha. Savijud abravalibhir yata nabaha. Anyone?
Rajeshnu birya parito virajate.
Brajeshnu virya parito virajate.
Lasad-vimana valabir mahatmanam.
Lasad-vimana valabir mahatmanam.
Vijotamana pramadotama jubi.
Vijotamana pramadotama jubihi. Savijud abravalibhir yata nabaha. That's nice, very nice. Anyone else want to give it a try? No? Varishnu birya parito virajate. Lasadimana maladir mahatmanam. Vijotmana pramadotama jubihi. Savijud bravalibhir yatanabaha. So word for word translation. Brajishnu bihi. By the glowing. Ya, the Vaikuntha lokas. Paritaha, surrounded by. Virajate, thus situated. Lasat, brilliant. Vimana, airplanes. Avali bihi, assemblage. Mahatmanam, of the great devotees of the Lord. Vijotamanaha, beautiful like lightning. Pramada, ladies. Uttama, celestial. Ajubihi, by complexion. Savijut, with electric lightning. Abravalibihi, with clouds in the sky. Yata, as it were. Nabaha, the sky. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes. Here we're calling them airplanes, but the Vimanas, the planes in the spiritual world, really don't need any air. All glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions. And all these combined together appear just like the sky, decorated with both clouds and lightning. Purport. It appears that the Vaikuntha planets, there are also airplanes brilliantly glowing, and they are occupied by the great devotees of the Lord, with ladies of celestial beauty as brilliant as lightning. So they must have a golden glow, golden hue to them. I believe the men in the Vaikuntha planets, I'm not talking about Goloka Vrindavan, they have the four-handed forms. And they're bluish, coral bluish, glowing blue. So, as there are airplanes, so there must be different types of carriages like air, but they may not be driven by machines, as we have experience in this world, because everything is of the same nature of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. The airplanes and carriages are of the same quality as Brahman. Although there is nothing except Brahman, one should not mistakenly think that there is only void and no variegatedness. Thinking like that is due to a poor fund of knowledge. Otherwise, no one would have such a misconception of voidness in Brahman. As there are airplanes, ladies and gentlemen, so there must be cities, houses, and everything else, just suitable to the particular planets. One should not carry the ideas of imperfection from this world to the transcendental world, and not take into consideration the nature of the atmosphere as completely free from the influence of time, etc., as described previously. So the verse again, the Vaikuntha planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions. And all these combined together appear just like the sky, decorated with both clouds and lightning. So, Prabhupada, of course, many times said that the Srimad Bhagavatam is like a picture window into the spiritual world. Picture window into the spiritual world. So these books, how amazing they are. So Srimad Bhagavatam, we have to understand, is a postgraduate study of spiritual life. These books are a university. This is the real university. If you study these books, you will graduate from the university. You will get a PhD. So, because we're on such a low level of spirit, maybe on such a low level of spiritual consciousness, we may not be fully able to appreciate Srimad Bhagavatam. Because it's actually meant for Paramahamsas, the swan-like men. A crow-like man is not going to be able to appreciate all the knowledge that's given in here. So it's about elevating our consciousness, getting purified. No matter what our situation, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, you will be purified. So this book is a place of pilgrimage, just like you come to New Vrindaban for pilgrimage. So these books themselves are places of pilgrimage. So that's why it's so important to have these books. Prabhupada said that if you even have this book in your house, you get purified. Maybe you don't believe it, maybe you do. But what's the loss, right? Put it in there. Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna. So, practically speaking, our life is so short. We have very short lifetimes. In the greater scheme of things, we're like little lightning bugs. We're just here for a few years and we're gone. So because of the shortness of life, and not only the shortness of life, the time even to read special books, valuable books, is limited. You have limited hours. you do so much work and do this and do that. How many quiet hours do you have just to sit down and actually read and contemplate and meditate? That is even fewer. So because of that, we should not waste our time reading so many, many different books. You don't have the time. You have to understand, grab the essence of life. While you can, the human form is so valuable. This human form of life is meant mainly one reason, mainly to understand who you are and what your relationship is with God. And if you miss that again, back again, over and over, samsara, birth, death, old age, and disease, over. How many times, how many lifetimes have you been in this world? Rotting. This body is simply rotting. We're born, and the minute we're born, we're already doomed to death at any moment, isn't it? So because of that, we should simply, any time you get a chance, even though you may not have a taste for it, that I understand. I don't have so much taste myself. Because this book is on such a high caliber, the consciousness has to be higher to even appreciate it. Just like there's different levels of consciousness. There's anamoya, where a living entity just identifies with eating. He understands eating. So we see many animals, practically all they do is eat and sleep, mate and a little defense. That's their position. They're on a very low level of consciousness. There's pranamoya, manamoya, vijnanamoya, and then there is anandamoya, where you understand the consciousness of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. That is the spiritual consciousness. So we're on different levels of consciousness, just like these planets. There's different levels of planets according to your consciousness, according to what you deserve. You can go to higher planets or you can go to lower planets. This is stated in Brahma Samhita. Kolokanamni nijadami datale tatasya devi maheshu haridameshu teshu tete prabhavani chaya vitascha yena govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lowest of all is located Devi Dham. Next above is Mahesha Dham. Above Mahesha Dham is placed Hari Dham. And above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. So Devi Dham, the material world, is actually the lowest in the greater scheme of things. And then Mahesha Dham, Lord Shiva has his own planet. Lord Shiva, we have to understand, is almost like Krishna, but at the same time he's a little different than Krishna. This is the thing in India. This is a very touchy subject. Most people in India probably believe that Lord Shiva is on the same level as Govinda, as Krishna. But Lord Shiva is tinged with the mode of ignorance because that's his function, to destroy this material universe. So it's stated in Brahma Samhita anyway. Kshiram yatadhari vikara vishesha jogat sanjayate nahi tata pritakashte heto ya sambuddhin apitata samupaitya karyat govinda madi purusham tamam bhajami. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, yet the effect curd is neither the same as nor different from its cause milk. So I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu is a transformation for the work of destruction. So Mahesh, Lord Shiva, has his own particular planet. He's not an ordinary living entity. He's almost like Krishna. And above Maheshadam is placed Haridam, the Vaikuntha planets. The Vaikuntha planets is Tripad Vibhuti. 3, 4, just for our estimation, we cannot actually estimate. It's beyond our comprehension. But only a quarter of Krishna's creation is material, and 3/4 is spiritual. One of the Vaikuntha planets is bigger than our entire universe. Just one of Krishna's planets. It's unlimited in length and breadth. So these planets, Vaikuntha planets, mainly people have the four-armed form of Lord Vishnu. And there are many, many, you have to understand, there's not just one. Sometimes, when I was raised in the Christian religion, we think of heaven, well, it's just heaven. We don't think of heaven as being many, many different planets. It's just heaven. There's heaven and there's hell and there's earth. So actually, the spiritual sky, it's like a universe. There's thousands of spiritual planets. And in each of these planets, there is a Vishnu form. And just like Nrsingadev has his own planet, Vamana Loka, Nrsinga Loka, Prishni Loka, Hari Loka. So there's many, many different planets. There's Rama Loka. Lord Ram has his own spiritual planet. But above them all, there's one planet, Goloka Vrindaban. Goloka namini jadami tate tadashya devi maheshu harindamashu tetu tete prabhu. No, that's not, I just did that one, didn't I? Sristi Stiti Pralaya Sharana Shakti Reka Jaiva Yasha Bhuvanadi Bibharti Durga Ikchanu. What's that? Oh yeah, okay. Sriya Kanta Kanta Parama Purusha Kalpataralo Druma Bhumi Sintamani Gunatayma Mritam Kataganam Natyam Gamanam Nam Chipriya Shakhi Chiranantam Jyoti Paramama Piyazvanya Papicha Kanta Dipachire Vidasandhanavagya Pedim Dipate Vitetu Samana Dharma Yastadiki Vicha Vishnuteya Vibhati Govindamari Purusham Dhamam Bhajami. I worship that transcendental seat known as Svetadvi, whereas loving consorts, the Lakshmis, in their unalloyed spiritual essence, practice the amorous service of the Supreme Lord Krishna as their only lover, where every tree is a transcendental purpose tree, where the soil is the purpose gem, water is nectar, every word is a song, every gate is a dance, the flute is a favorite attendant, effulgence is full of transcendental bliss, and the supreme spiritual entities are all enjoyable and tasty, where numberless milk cows always emit transcendental oceans of milk, where there is eternal existence of transcendental time, who is ever present and is not subject to the quality of passing away, even for the duration of half a moment. That realm is known as Goloka only to a very few self-realized souls in this world. So this is Krishna's own realm, the highest planet in the spiritual sky. There's no difference between Vishnu and Krishna. But the pastimes, the leelas, are on a different level. Prabhupada said most people that are on the platform of Shantaras and Dashyaras go usually to the planet of Vishnu. That means awe and reverence and servitude. But on Krishna's planet you have the higher rasas, which is parental, friendship, and conjugal. Madhurya ras. That's not exhibited in the Vishnu. So in other words, us as living entities, we have 78% of the qualities of Vishnu in minute portions. Just like Vishnu can create galaxies. So you might be able to make a little house or something of that sort. So you have that potency because you're part and parcel of God. You can also create. You have some beauty because you're part and parcel of God. But God has unlimited. So 78%, just like Lord Brahma. And Lord Shiva has about 84% of the qualities of Vishnu. And Vishnu has about, does anybody remember, either 98 or 96% of the qualities of Krishna. So Krishna's pastime, the leelas that he has are above even the Vishnu tattva. So Brahma, here we see he was able to see the spiritual world, and he was able to take darshan of Krishna. So to come to that platform, to be able to see Krishna, to be able to see God, one has to be totally purified. So to take the post of Brahma, some people say it takes about 100 lifetimes of a pure life. 100 lives lived purely. And even then, it's still up to Krishna to decide who is going to be such a powerful, exalted position as Lord Brahma. Can you imagine building a universe? How powerful, we cannot even imagine the power. So the first words, of course, we heard, this is discussed a few days before, tapa. He performed austerities to become purified. He performed the bhakti yoga for 1,000 celestial years to be able to see Krishna and to do all the things that he's doing. So even after he saw so this is his vision. He's giving us a look into the spiritual world. The spirit. There's no lust, anger, greed, no janma, mrityu, jara, vyadi, no birth, death, old age, and disease. Everyone is youthful. No one looks like they're more than 16 or 17 years old. They're beautiful beyond compare. And the spiritual world is what we call ever fresh. In other words, when you see Krishna today, tomorrow he looks more beautiful. And the next day he looks even more, there's no limit. And also the living entities are also like that. So you don't get tired. In this world, there's a satiation point, isn't there? To anything you do, I don't care how much fun you want to have, you get tired of it. It's called a satiation point. That's the way this much. But in the spiritual world, there is no satiation point. You can go on doing all these different activities, and every day it's fresh. It's even more fun than the day before. It's amazing. So it's good to have these pictures of the spiritual world because, well, maybe that's the kind of place you want to go. When you think of where you're at and what the situation is, it sounds like, so Krishna, this is why Krishna appears, even in this universe. What he's doing is he's showing the spiritual world. He said, here's the spiritual world. This is what we do. We have pastimes. Krishna's always beautiful, Radharani, cowherd boys, the cows, everything's beautiful and wonderful. And this is to attract our minds. So this is why the Leelas, the pastimes of Krishna, if you remember them at the time of death, you will not return again to this material world. One who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not return to this material world, Krishna says. All you have to do is think of Krishna's pastime. How wonderful, how easy. So this requires that we totally focus on whenever you get a chance. And this is tapasya, this is your tapa. Life is meant for tapasya. It's not meant for sense gratification. If you want sense gratification, you can become an animal, because they're more powerful than we are sensually. Practically any animal can beat you up. Even a little monkey. Would you fight a little monkey? I wouldn't. They terrorize you. You see, they're very strong. They're very agile. Animals can lift so many different things. So animals are actually stronger than we are. And human life is meant for going back to Godhead. They're done with this business. If you still want to enjoy this material world, poof. You want to fly? Okay, you can become a bird. You want to be strong? Okay, you can become an ox. You want to eat a lot? You like eating? Okay, you can become a pig. So animals got it all. They already got that. But human life is meant for tapa, the wealth of the Brahmins. So anyway, Lord Brahma, when he saw this vision and he talked to Krishna, and Krishna actually shook his hand. Well done. He was very pleased with Brahma. And Lord Brahma, he said, please, I know how powerful this illusory energy is, and I don't want to become proud. I don't want to think that I'm doing this, I and mine, that I'm creating this universe. See, it's very, very easy to become proud. You have any beauty, you have money, it's easy to become proud. Pride is, so to speak, they say, pride began in Vaikuntha. We were put, because of pride, we were put in, and it continues in this material, in this earthly planet, and it'll end up in hell. That's the gradation of pride. You just slowly go down further and further and further. You slide. See, so pride, so he asked for the benediction, please. I don't want to ever think that I'm the creator, that I'm the doer of these things. So that's the benediction he wanted. So we have to take a lesson from that. So it was President Wilson. Nobody remembers President Wilson, right? But whenever he put somebody into a big position, he watched to see if they were growing or if they were swelling. So when you get some power, one of two things you're going to do. You're either going to swell and think you're something else, or you're going to grow because of that. So, no doubt, the more things you get, it's very easy to be not to be proud when you don't have anything. So actually, one of the cures for pride is to be poverty-stricken. So this is why you'll see the sages, the 6 Goswamis. They gave up big posts, they gave up wealth, family, society, and they became mendicants. Why? Because you don't have anything to be proud of anymore. You want to get rid of your pride, give everything up. This idea of possessiveness, this is why our movement, Our philosophy is yukta vairagya. In other words, you can use everything in God's service. Because Isha Vasham Idam Sarvam Yat Kincha Jagat Cham Jagat. Everything animate or inanimate is owned and controlled by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things which are set aside as his quota, and one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. And the next verse of that, Kurvani karmani jiti vishek satam samaha evam tvai nanete tosti nakarma liptenare. One may aspire to live for hundreds of years if he goes on working in that way. For that sort of work will not bind him to the law of karma. There is no alternative to this way for man. So if you utilize everything, you understand it belongs to God. I don't own anything. Then you're safe. Otherwise, Krishna, if he sees that you're becoming possessive and you're becoming proud or whatever, Krishna, if he's merciful, he'll cut you down. That is Krishna's mercy. He'll take it. This is why Hari, he who takes away. Krishna's name is. If he really loves you, he'll take everything away from you to give you the real thing. He doesn't just take things away and make you miserable. He gives you the real thing. So this is why I was saying, spend your time reading Srimad Bhagavatam, because ultimately, any other book that doesn't take you towards Krishna, towards God, is fiction. Because it ends with this body. So all books are fiction, except one that's connected to Shri Krishna. So this power, this lust for, this pride or lust for power is intoxicating. I remember I'm not going to mention the Guru's name, but he told me himself, he said, it goes to your head. Even saints and ascetics, when they get power, they can become intoxicated by it. It doesn't matter how strong you are. If you take wine, sooner or later it's going to go to your head, right? So power is like that. Power, what is it saying? Power corrupts or something? So this intoxication, you can't get enough of it. Once you've tasted, it was Napoleon himself who said, "Power is my mistress, and I have tasted her, and I'm not willing to let her go." It's very intoxicating once you get power. That is the highest aphrodisiac in this world, is power. If you have power, you're somebody. Everybody listens to you. You're something. If you don't have any power, nobody cares about you. You're nothing, right? So power is the thing. So this is why I gave this verse from Ishopanishad. We have to understand that, always remember that everything belongs to Krishna. Nothing belongs to you. And that way you can go on living for hundreds of years. You can even have millions of dollars and you won't get contaminated. But the minute you think it's yours, you're finished. So, does anybody have any questions on this? It's 1:45. Anything to add? Did anybody get anything out of this?
I have the mic here. I have the mic.
Okay. Oh, I just wanted to also...
I have something, but let me see. Anyone has?
Okay. Oh, I just wanted to add about the vimanas. Now, they say that the word vimana, which means plane, in Sanskrit, they say that the word vimana, airplane, came from vamana. Some people say that, it came from vamana, which means, of course, vamana, he took 2 steps and he covered the entire universe. So the vimanas, the spiritual planes, they go at the speed of thought. But that's just, you're thinking about material thought. Spiritual, Brahma, they go as fast as spiritual thought. They're even faster than mundane thought. You can think of the moon right now, and poof, you're on the moon. Well, these vimanas, they're made out of chintamani. They're made out of pure consciousness, pure spirit. So we can only, they're so beautiful. They're lapis lazuli, gold. Some are shaped like swans. Some are shaped like flower planes. You see, we can only try to get some kind of conception of these beautiful spacecrafts, so to speak, spiritual crafts. So even in this material world, on different planets, there were Kardama Muni. He was able to build, by his mystical powers, he was able to build an entire kind of like a city with fountains and lakes, and this would be like a plane, and he would be able to travel anywhere throughout the universe by his mystical powers. And even Ravana had a plane, and so did Salva. But their planes were even crude, more crude, so to speak. So, yes, Madhuri, you had a question?
Yes, I have actually quite a few about that, but I would like to ask maybe first for reflections, since no one else has questions. I would like to start. Thank you, by the way, so much for your class.
Thank you.
I want to say.
Thank you for listening.
To at least one point maybe. It's so nice to be reminded that how valuable our time is and not to waste it, because it's so easy to do it. We just waste time on so many things. So thank you for reminding us to really value our time, because we cannot buy it, we cannot go back and take it.
Time.
Waste it.
Time is your life. Your life is made of time. You only have, that's why Prabhupada always said, don't waste time. Don't waste time. Time is so precious that you can't buy it, you can't do anything. So we're very fortunate. And one thing about even those people who are spiritualists, you can become lackadaisical. You can become kind of take it easy. You know how we have this idea, we like to go on automatic. We're so lazy now, they're going to make cars that drive themselves, right? So they say. So we always want to take the easy way out. That's why rivers run crooked, is because they always take the easy course. You see, so this is, we become crooked kind of like that too, because we want to take the easy way out. See, so we have to be strict with ourselves. Talk to yourself. Chastise yourself a little bit. You ever chastise yourself? You should be nice to others. Glorify other people, but chastise yourself. Okay, anything else?
Thank you for this class. I heard a little bit farther. And then when you said this part, how Prabhupada reminded us that, what was it? That the windows, it's actually pictures, and the pictures in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's actually windows in the spiritual world.
Yes.
I really like it.
Yeah. So we're So these books are actually living. They're our association. I like to say that every line is a vein. These lines that you read, those are veins. And this is a living book. If you want to time travel, you like to time travel, read this book. You'll go 5,000 years into the past. So these are the original time traveling machines. You can go back and you can listen to what Krishna was saying. You can be right there with Krishna. It's like, I like to say, frozen thought. Just like in Russia, they have a lot of amber. Amber is a big thing in Russia. And sometimes within amber, you see an insect. And when you see that insect might be 10,000 years ago. Wow, this is how the insects looked 10,000 years ago. So these books are frozen thought. They're frozen thought. You go there and you say, wow, this is what happened 5,000 years ago. You can read it. So it is interesting. Srimad Bhagavatam.
And one more thing I wanted to say, you were saying some, I don't remember exact thought about that we, because we, anyway, you said something I don't remember, but it brought me another thought. It will be connected. My Guru Maharaj, Vashishika Prabhu, he said it the other day. He said that the only reason we're attracted to, by someone is because we're attracted by the super soul, because Krishna is all attractive. And you mentioned something about it, I can't remember, but it gave me this thought.
No, yeah, that's what I said. So, yeah, I was going to make a point, and I looked over here and I forgot what I was going to say.
Any more reflections? Any takeaways? Marisa.
Chai, welcome back.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Very well.
It's a long class. Well, I was actually thinking, this is what I thought of it. I'm going to be talking about this, because when we were talking about how important it is to read Srimad Bhagavatam, because we have this little window of time to actually read the Shastras, because everything is taking us away. I just felt this wave of not just frustration, just how fortunate to have somebody constantly reminding,
Yeah.
It's this is what's really important. This is right here.
That's what I'm here for. I'm here. If you're comfortable, I'm going to make you uncomfortable. But if you're uncomfortable, I'll make you comfortable. So it's both ways. That's a preacher's job. This is what the meaning, sadhu means to cut. So, sadhu means to cut. So, we have our attachments and we have to slowly detach ourselves. So sometimes we don't want to hear some things. Oh, please don't tell me that. It makes us uncomfortable. But, the best medicine is always kind of bitter, isn't it? Okay.
So, I'm sure Prabhu can share. I have to say that.
Hare Krishna, we've taken a very nice class, and to help one absorb themselves in Krishna's pastimes is very, very important. Even coming to Srimad Bhagavatam class every day for his pleasure. It reminded me of that, and to be able to, like you say, not waste time. This is the best time to be waiting. If you're going to waste some time, the best time to be
Right.
It's going to show up on class, is very important. Like a time of death.
Right. So life is so short, and this is, look at it as your austerity. If you do a little bit of austerity, one thing about austerity, it makes you strong also. If you don't perform austerities, you get weak. In fact, if you look at history, most civilizations expired on the lap of luxury. They became weak from within. They rotted out. So you have to keep yourself. Be the downfall of America. It's just history repeats itself. So you have to be austere. This will make you strong. For spirit, Maya is so powerful. You're nothing. It's only by performing austerities for Krishna that it gives you some strength. Yes.
The last point you were making, that the puja pratishta, the power, it's intoxicating. It almost seems like everyone who gets it becomes intoxicated, and I don't think that's what you meant, but I just want to make sure that that's not really, there's so many great souls who get the worship, and they have a lot of power and strength on different levels, yet they are very, very humble. So it takes certain consciousness and understanding. If I'm the servant of the servant of the servant, regardless of the position of the worship, they can still, it's not like, the way I took it, it's like everyone, you put everyone in the whole.
Yeah, I'm just talking about a normal way. But it's like this, it's, the higher you build a building, the lower the foundation has to be able to hold up that building. So the higher you go, the more power you get, the more virtues you have to have. You have to be a better man. Otherwise you will be swept away. You have to have so if you're deeply rooted in God, in Krishna, you have to become more humble. Even the more power you get, the more humble you have to become. Otherwise, you will be overcome.
Another one which I was thinking that some listeners may take it in the wrong way is that could sound what you said, that you are promoting to be a poverty-stricken because that's the only cure for pride. And that's also not necessary. I think it's just one.
Well, that's why I mentioned if yukta vairagya. It means that you can use everything in Krishna's service. But there's that line, how much you use. It's just like Ishavasham. Everything belongs to Krishna, and you take your quota. Okay, what's my quota? My quota is, let's see, 5 cars. You can fidge. What exactly is your quota? What's enough for you? In other words, the more your consciousness goes higher, the less you need. And the less you may think that I need a mansion. I need $1 million. That's what I need. But as you gradually elevate yourself, you'll find out, it was like, it wasn't Socrates, maybe it was Socrates. The way he went shopping, he used to go, here's how he went shopping. He'd go shop to shop. I don't need this. I don't need that. Well, I don't need this. That's his way of shopping. So he didn't need, but somebody else may go shopping. Oh, I need this, I need that. You see, so, yeah.
Again, so you're appointed. I see there are devotees whom Krishna gives a lot of, let's say, money, funds, but they have the qualification to manage those funds.
Yeah.
And they can still stay quite humble, but they have the qualifications not to be enamored and use those money responsibly. And sometimes people will get them, who knows what will happen to some.
Yeah, I can't believe someone like Ambarish. He has millions of dollars, and he's humble and he's giving it all for Krishna service, I don't think, my hands are sticky. I couldn't give all that up. So Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
One more which I want to bring up because I said I have several, but I wanted to hear about this. Because you said something that it takes 100 lifetimes to take a post of Brahma. And I've been reading that whenever we come to this material world, the first birth is as Lord Brahma.
Yeah, maybe that's true. That's why I said, that's why some people are saying 100 births. Whenever you get, there's always different variations of things. A lot of people say we never fell from the spiritual world. We were never there. And then other people say we were at one
There's
time.
some people, Prabhupada said God.
Yeah, so they're right. So I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not disagreeing.
Maybe he said God about that Lord Brahma.
Yeah, probably that's one of the ways you do too, yeah.
And one more, hold on. When you were reading the last translation of the Brahma Samhita, you were saying that the living entities are tasty?
Yeah.
How do you understand that?
When you love somebody, you want to just eat them up. I don't know. It's a spiritual thing. It's a spiritual thing. I'm not on that level. I have no idea. I always wondered about that too, because we're always thinking on it from our own platform. You mean they eat them and they're tasty? I don't think it's exactly like that. But it sounds good. Sounds interesting. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.